Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Carrie and this is Keep It Simple DIY. I have a holiday party to go to, and so I am bringing some sourdough dinner rolls, which will be in a different video. And then in this video, I am going to make an apple couronne. I've never made a couronne before, but it seems pretty simple. It looks like you make it just like cinnamon rolls, and then at the very end, instead of cutting each cinnamon roll into a separate piece, you just slice the whole thing in half and then twist it together into a circle. Seems pretty simple. I am going to deviate from the recipe a little bit. It calls for apples. I don't have apples, but I have a ton of apple juice. So I'm thinking I might just whip up some apple jelly since I have everything I need to make that. So I am going to start out by putting everything in the bowl that we need. I need to start out with 120 grams of starter. Ooh, tear it. And we got way more than we needed there. Where's my spatula? 60 grams, and I only want 120. So what did we do there? 112. So not all of this needs to come out with me. To this, I'm going to add 100 milliliters of milk, which is pretty interesting, but luckily I have milliliters on my measuring cup here. So that's going in. We're also going to add 1.5 eggs. It's 1 egg yolk plus 1 whole egg. And then I have a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar. We need 50 grams of butter. That's 24 grams. That's probably going to be what we need. Yep, nope, 42. Just kidding. 45. Bing. I'm filming a little ahead of time. I currently have turkey broth behind me. And then we need 300 grams of flour. It says mix this with a paddle attachment first and then switch over to a dough hook, and I just don't really feel like cleaning my paddle attachment. And I already had my Danish dough whisk out and dirty, so using the Danish dough whisk to get it started. And 300 grams of flour. Okay, 301, that was pretty dang spot on. I'm just going to give it a little tiny bit of a mix before we head over, and then I'll let the dough go on its own. Actually, you know, I think this recipe said to let it mix with the dough hook and then let it sit for like 10 minutes and then let it mix again. I think I might do just that first mix just right now, and then we'll let it sit for 10 minutes and then get it started on the dough hook. Do I want to do that? No, okay, this is a little harder with my hand than I thought. So I'm gonna actually put it on the mixer. The dough's been sitting for about 10 minutes now. I am going to knead it again. This dough has a beautiful texture. I just took it out of the mixer, put it in this bowl, and now I'm just going to put the lid on it, and we will see it again tomorrow. I'm getting ready to roll out the couronne, and I am kind of thinking about what I want to put in the inside. So what this recipe calls for is a flour and brown sugar mix that you sprinkle on, and then you throw apples over it that have been kind of caramelized in a cinnamon and sugar glaze. But I don't have apples, but I did have a lot of apple juice. I think I want a bigger spoon than this. So yesterday I made up some apple jam. So I'm gonna use the apple jam, but the apple jam has a ton of sugar, so I don't want to add brown sugar into this flour because I feel like that would just be too much, but I definitely think that we need that flavor still. So I think what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of flour, and ooh, that's coriander. We're not using coriander for this. And I'm gonna put the cinnamon in the flour, and I might actually add some butter in there too. I think butter would be good in there. That way we still get all the right flavors, but it's not gonna be like overly sweet. And I did grab out some molasses. I think I'm just going to mix the molasses with, let's see, do I wanna just mix it with the butter? Maybe I'll mix it with the butter. I'm making this up as I go. So maybe I'll spread the butter molasses on. Well, do I wanna do that? The jam is going to be like it's going to be something that I have to spread on. So if I'm spreading on too many things, that might make it difficult. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take this much butter, precisely, because that's how much butter is here. And then I'm going to take a little spoonful. We don't need much, because to make brown sugar, you just don't need much molasses. So I think I'm gonna go with this much. I'm gonna try to mix these two together a little bit. Oh great, this is working. This is working. I still have to figure out how I'm gonna get this on here. We'll get that in a second. Okay, so this dough, this calls for a round pan. The only round pan I have is a pie pan, so I have my pie pan out and ready. So now I think we can roll the dough, and I just put the flour away. I need the flour again. So I'm gonna start this just like I would cinnamon rolls. We're gonna roll it out, we're gonna put the mixture on it. It's the exact same, but then the way we cut it is going to be different. And I'm really hoping that I can cut this with my dough, my pastry, what do you call this thing? This. I don't want to use anything that can hurt my counter. All right, I think I've got it as thin as I'm going to be able to get it. So I am going to start with the butter mixture. See if I can just spread this out evenly. Hopefully there's not a ton of butter here, so hopefully I can spread it pretty well. Okay, so now the dilemma is it would make sense to sprinkle on this, but then the jelly wouldn't really go on. I don't know why, I just thought that I could pop it with my hand. Good news is it sealed really well. Now this jelly is kind of gelled. It hasn't completely set yet. Interesting. I've never made jelly before this, so that was weird. There was like a layer of water. Hi Milo, you're okay. So I think we're gonna double this on top. Okay, this next was a good idea. Okay. Sprinkle on our flour and cinnamon mixture. I didn't look to see how much it was supposed to have, but I figure eyeballing it'll be just fine. It's gonna soak up. Okay, so now we need to roll it. Do I wanna roll it? I think I'm gonna roll it towards myself because that just seems like it's gonna be easier. This part's just like how you would roll a cinnamon roll. Except, running into a little bit of an issue that all of the jelly is kind of coming towards me. So I think I want to not roll it as tightly. So just set it over it. Lift it and set it, I think is what I'm doing. Tighten it, lift it, set it. Okay, Not too worried if a little bit of jelly comes out. We are going to pinch the ends. Jelly's popping out everywhere, but that just means it's gonna be good, right? All right, I think we're getting there. Now here's where this differs from a cinnamon roll. Instead of cutting pieces like this, we are going to cut this way, right in half, but we're going to leave the end together, and then we are going to turn it so the cut sides are up. And now we're going to twist. So we're going to put one over the other, and then one over the other. Come back a little bit. It's just how tightly do I want them to be. Then one over the other again. One over the other, one over the other. And then we link them back together. And somehow I get it in that pan. Okay, did it. Now I'm just trying to make sure I have pretty edges up. All right, we did it. That needs to rise for a couple hours. I will put this in about the same time that I put in the rolls, and then we will have a dessert. I have the oven preheated to 360 degrees. I did make the sourdough dinner rolls. These came out fantastic. There was a little roll my husband and I shared, just the little half-sized roll, and it's amazing. The sourdough actually this is now my new favorite. I like it way better than the other ones. Not that the other ones were bad, but our couronne's been sitting here and rising for the last 3 hours or so. I'm going to get it into the oven. It says 40 to 50 minutes, but I live in a dry climate, so I'm going to set the timer for 35 minutes and check it. And then I will put it in longer if it needs longer. The rolls definitely didn't take as long as it said they were going to. The timer just went off and I came to peek at this, and this looks so fantastic. I could have even taken it out like a few minutes earlier, and I did set that timer to 5 minutes less than the minimum time. Look at how good this looks. The couronne came out of the oven about 5 minutes ago. I've let it sit for just a little bit, but I want to get it out of this pie dish before it gets stuck to the pie dish. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get this out, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. Let's see. Okay, I think this lifting it up little by little to get the bottom unstuck is working. All right, let's see. Did it. All right, I need to let that cool a little bit longer, and then we will put the glaze on it. In the meantime, I can probably get everything out for the glaze, but I definitely don't want to put a glaze on like a really hot thing. I am going to get the glaze ready for this couronne. This glaze is really simple. It is just powdered sugar, apple juice, and then I'm going to use pumpkin pie spice. I debated pumpkin pie spice versus just cinnamon, and I think that the pumpkin pie spice is the way to go. When I just breathed in, I got a mouthful of sugar, so that was interesting. This apple juice is reduced by half. I did that yesterday when I was making the apple jelly. So it'll have definitely more of an apple juice taste to it. And I'm just eyeballing how much I'm going to use here. So I want to mix the spice into the sugar before I add any apple juice. And then we will add a little bit of this. And I don't know exactly how much I'm going to need, so little by little, we'll just mix it in. All right. think we've got it. This is about the consistency that I'm going for. Now I am a little bit bummed that this got a little bit more brown than I wanted it to. It's real interesting though. Like I even checked it right before the timer went off, and my timer was set for 5 minutes less than what it called for, and it still was a little bit brown. So that just comes with living in a dry climate. All of my doughs are always just a little bit more dry, and so they take less time to bake. So now I'm thinking about how I want to do this. I mean, ideally the whole thing will be glazed, so maybe I'll just pour it. I think I overglazed it. Look at all this down here. Well, we did not need that much glaze on it. Okay, let's see if I can take some back off. All right, I've come to my senses with how much glaze to actually put on it, and I'm going to bring the extra glaze with me because I feel like we're going to want the extra glaze. I'm just not going to want it all over the car. So here's the glaze, that's ready. And here's the couronne. It looks so good. It's so sticky on the bottom though. I need like a serving platter that I have that has a lid. Something like that. I don't have any serving platters. This is just a plate. All right, there we go. I did taste the icing. The icing is very appley and very spicy. Like the spice, not like hot spicy, which is great because I think that over the bread, which bread is, you know, a little bit bland aside from the filling, will be just fantastic. So this, I now need to figure out how to transport it across town. But other than that, I think everything is great. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. My counter is so sticky, and I've already washed this so many times. Figured out how I was going to bring this. I have a turkey roaster pan, so I put the plate in here. I had to get a different container so it would fit, and then I'm going to put foil over the top. So I think we've got it.